Welcome to fabulous Fulda in central Germany, and welcome to the third annual European Open, a major ranking event on the World Nineball Tour. I'm sure you can imagine excitement is palpable at the Hotel Esperanto Conference Centre in this delightful town as a truly international field of 256 players go in search of glory, trying to emulate Spain's David Alcaide, last year's champion. Double World Masters champion Alcaide, who enters the fray tomorrow, held himself together under immense pressure, squeezing by Anton Raga of the Philippines in a dramatic, deciding rack shootout. It was won in a series of enthralling, absorbing finals on the World Nineball Tour over the last year or so. They always seem to go close. Today, we've got 6 matches for you on the main table, with such giants of the game as Ko Pin-Yi and Jason Shaw taking centre stage. Over on table 2, we've got the likes of Aloysius Yap, Albin Auschen and the Vietnamese #1, Duong Quoc Quang, in action. But first up, it's fair to say, Hai Long Lei from Vietnam has a difficult opening assignment. You see, Hai's opponent will be the runaway World Nineball Tour #1 and reigning World Nineball champion, Fedor Gorst. It's a race to 9. I'm joined in commentary by that great pool mind, former US Open champion Jeremy Jones. So without further ado, let's get potting. Should be a good one to start, Jeremy.
Yeah, absolutely, Phil, and especially the world #1 taking the stage here in Fulda to open this great European Open.
I'll tell you what, he'll be looking for a more dominant start to this tournament than when he won the World Nineball Championship in Saudi Arabia. He was immediately on the back foot there, and throughout the event it seemed as though he just scraped by.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you can kind of set that aside. It's almost like a ball these players never miss, hardly. You know, if they're in gear doing the right things, they can usually leave that behind. He probably leaves that behind pretty easily, especially getting the W there in Jeddah. And what a W it was over Eklund Kachi, 15-14 in the final.
26 tables in operation as this fine tournament gets underway. And there's one thing unique about the main table, Jeremy. It has a shot clock.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's the direction for all the tables eventually. Of course, that takes a lot of brains and a lot of manpower to be able to get it done, but you got to like that here. You'll get 1 minute after the break, 1 extension per game each player. I don't know if he can get at this blue 2 to make it, even though it just hangs over the lower left corner. Looks like the pink 4 may have him a hair cut off. No push out announced, so he's going to try and make this and draw the cue ball out. Maybe just stops there. Yeah, and that tells you had to swerve it a bit, maybe throw it in with a bit of right. Doesn't mind taking on this pink 4, though, with the purple 5 hanging over the right middle. Now I'm trying to think. I know he competed right after the World Championships there in Dubai at another ranking event, exited fairly early, and it's a little understandable, probably a hair of a hangover from the biggest win ever in 9-ball pool, but I don't know if he's competed since.
He's been very quiet, hasn't he? And I think to a certain extent that's a really good thing, because we've got so many big tournaments coming up over the next few months. Conserving the energy makes sense.
Yeah, and you know, you say stay quiet. He went to Vietnam on a trip where he has so many fans, did a lot of exhibitions. I think, you know, visited a few other countries in that part of the world, got engaged in Paris, which was a big moment in his life, and Christina Tkach, his fiance. So staying active still, but maybe not as much on the competitive scene. But like you said, Phil, I don't think it's anything but a good thing for him. Bit different equipment here this week since the last they played in a major. Usually the diamond table plays a little tighter than the Racing.
No need to worry about that one, or indeed the first rack. Gorst draws first blood. Now, the way that rack went, you would think he would be the first player to get a rack on the board. He wasn't. Besar Sparhugh on table 9 is 1-0 up. I can only assume he went 1-0 up so quickly. I can only assume the other guy isn't here. Or he had a golden break.
Golden break, maybe an early combination, and you can see there 1-0. This race to 9 here early on the winner's side. Some of the races change as the event goes on, of course.
Some really big names in action right now. Aloysia Schaap is taking on Seo Seoa over on table 1. Of course, that is streamed on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel. Robbie Capito, the UK Open champion from Telford in May. He's playing right now. Radoslav Babica, Alexa Pashelsh, Victor Zielinski, Alvin Anggito from Indonesia, who's a fine player. The youngster from the Philippines, Albert Manis, Dennis Grabber, Ralph Suke. All of these big names involved immediately. Max Lechner, Jeffrey Rodder. The list goes on. Daniel Massey Holland over on table 20 against Khalid Al-Atabi. It is Naoki Oyu who should be congratulated for winning his first World 9-Ball Tour ranking event on Sunday in Helsinki, Finland. He beat Francisco Sanchez Ruiz to win the Town Maxroom Open.
Yeah, and like we talk about in this sport, any individual sport, usually it's a trending kind of thing. And Naoki Oyu was just a few years ago where it seemed like he got to the semifinal in so many events. So nice to see him get a win. Maybe he can carry it on this week. Well, he's a long pot away here on the red 3. Nothing easy, but another long shot from probably another break and run here in game number 2.
Under the gun in that World 9-Ball Championship on several occasions when he was in real trouble. He potted balls of this ilk. What happened in Jeddah, I think, was more a triumph of temperament than talent. He wasn't at his best, and yet he still won the World 9-Ball Championship.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd commented that caught him in the hallways in between games on timeouts, and of course some of the things that we saw from the sidelines. Probably had some different kind of thoughts during some of those matches when he was behind, but even when he was winning in those big moments there in the later matches, he'd commented to me that I've never had so many thoughts in my head before when playing matches. So, and this is the guy that trains as hard as anyone, has a very acute mind for what he does, and it just tells you how much it means to these players. Now, a little thin here on the purple 5. Does he use the top half of the table to run the cue ball? Does he try to kill this a bit? There's a match I'm really interested in now. That's not till tomorrow, but for two young guns, one of them really young. But Mickey Krause, who's been doing so well on the World Nineball Tour and trending in the right direction. He plays a very young Felix Vogel, who has snapped off a few of these junior events, and kind of like the player on the planet that everyone knows is going to be a champion one day soon. All right, he's killing this with a little low left, trying to get into the cue ball. Yeah, and kind of let up a little bit, so didn't get the dig on the cue ball he wanted. Now, this is funny. I don't think there's enough angle to go around 4 rails. And does he catch a piece of the 8 going by here? Does he try to draw to the side rail? That looks extremely tough. Oh, great shot.
You know, it's a different sport, but it was the same principle when Steve Davis made his first ever televised 147 all those years ago, 40-odd years ago now. He was like that on the pink, had to really hold the cue ball for the black, and that's exactly what Gorst has done there for the black 8 ball. Very similar kind of shot, different table, different dimensions, but the same principle.
Yeah, absolutely. And if he's just a little further away from that 6, that's probably not possible. But when you're close to it, you can manufacture a little more. And looks like he's going to manufacture 2 breaking runs to open this event. Much different than what we saw early from Fedor Gorst in Jeddah.
Yes, then he was in all kinds of trouble against Mustafa Alner. Here, it is, so far, a monopoly of potting. 2-0.
Well, I'd asked you, sorry, Phil, that do we know much about his opponent?
Well, I've been trying to do some research on him, but it's been a fruitless.
Well, it's kind of like what we've seen so far in this match. We haven't got our eyes on him yet.
He's very much a mystery man. We don't even know how he cues. So, very early in the tournament, Jeremy, and I'm sure Michael McMullen will do this with Carl Boyds in our second match when they take over behind the microphone. Your pick for the week.
Oh, man, we should get a few picks. We should get like a top tier and then maybe one that's just a little down the road. But I'm going to go a little, I wouldn't say left field by any means, but maybe a little outside the infield, let's say that. And I'm going to go with Moritz Neuhausen. Got to the semis in Helsinki. He's not a kid that's going to have too many off tournaments, and he didn't have his best before that in a few events. But I think he's just, you know, German first off, so I think he can get the crowd going behind him. But I think he's another one of those stars that's going to win soon.
Well, as I always do, it seems, I'm going to pick Joshua Filler. But I think my second choice would be a very talented player from Poland who is due, Victor Zielinski.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's always hard to bet against Phil or you and Carl. It seems like that's y'all's guy every event. How can anyone blame you? But, you know, if I had to go, I just kind of get a feeling about Moritz, you know, and love the kid. And, of course, right here in Germany, where would it be better for him? But if I had to, like, pick somebody every tournament, I think I got to pick Kachi. I think that's the guy that I think might be the guy to beat tournament, you know, from one tournament to the next.
Well, finally, the extended stay of Fedor Gorst at the table is over because he's scratched on the break, and we get to see Hai Longley.
Hai from Vietnam, where just incredible what's going on in pool there. And it doesn't seem like it's going to slow down one bit. So all these players, we're going to have plenty of players from Vietnam over the next few years. We're going to be wondering maybe who they are, and they're going to show us quickly, because when you have that much attention to a sport and so much love and such a populated country, you got to believe they're going to start to produce some real champions. Pretty good cueing so far, though.
Yeah, I think the word you would use to describe it would be compact, his cue action.
Yeah, well, first big tournament playing with Fedor Gorst, it may be a little compact without him wanting it. See a little shake there, actually. Backhand, maybe a little nerves going. Gonna have to use the 7 here. You would figure it's the draw stroke. Now this is a touchy shot. How much of the 7 is he getting? Has to draw the ball. I don't know if the 5 passes the 9 in the lower right, just in case he draws past the purple. It's the kind of shot, if you hit subtly, you don't catch much of the 7, so you may draw on top of the 5. Oh, great shot. And as many fans as Federer has, and the time he spent there in Vietnam, I would bet he knows his opponent. Where us in the box, of course, we're going by Mr. Internet and what we've seen, but like I said, I bet Federer knows this guy.
It's an extremely small sample size, and when I say extremely small, I mean that. It's minuscule. I get the impression these pockets, while they will be stern, won't be quite as stern as they were at the UK Open.
Well, I think the weather will play a little bit to do with that. I mean, very crisp, no rain in the forecast this week, and of course it is day 1. Like Phil said, they will get more difficult, but I had a look at them this morning, and I gotta believe they're exact same dimensions, really. Like you said, just maybe going to play a little easier, but not easy by any means.
Oh dear me. All the hard work done, and then he misses the 9-ball, and he missed it by some distance.
Yeah, the pocket size had nothing to do with that miss. What you got to like about Federer, though, he really gets in that working mode quickly, whether he's a big favorite early in the tournament, really starts to prepare himself. You know, because practice, your brain's a little different than match play.
It is 3-0, and the scratch on the break did not cost Gorst in the end. You were mentioning, Jeremy, that he got engaged in Paris to Christina Tkach. It's a great time for Christina. We know her because obviously she's done some work with us in the commentary box in the past. Lovely person, and I'm delighted for her, not just on a personal level, but also on a professional level, because recently she won her first WPBA Tour event, the Iron City Invitational in Birmingham, Alabama. And it was a real big achievement for her because she'd been so close so often this year, and finally she's broken through.
Yeah, and if you've kept track of that WPBA Tour, it's not getting any easier like this World Nineball Tour. And she had finished second twice, I believe, in the previous 2 pro events on the ladies' side, and then snapped that event off. And I'll tell you, is there a better smile in the game, really, than Christina Tkach? I mean, she's really just a lovely person.
Yeah, I believe Margarita Fefilova was the runner-up, and the great Alison Fisher was 3rd in that event.
Yeah, great cast there. And speaking of Margaret, unfortunate we're not going to have Tyler Steyer here this week. He was in Europe training, getting ready for this event, but had an outpatient surgery he needs to go take care of, so he flew back to the U.S. And then really unfortunate, because you talk about someone who's trending. He just won the last 2 ranking events in America. Now they're a little smaller, but still a lot of great players he had to beat to win those events.
Okay then, so Gorst won the first 2 racks if you're just joining us via a break and run out. The 3rd rack did more damage, I think, to his opponent's psyche, because Hai Long Lei missed the 9-ball. a very makeable 9-ball.
All right. Not his best break off as far as the cue ball was a little lower than normal. So Federer will pay attention to that, but he's getting shots after the break. A little off angle here on the 2. Love to get an angle on the 3 right there in the center of the table to become 2, so he could come 2 rails off the red 3 to get out of grouping up the table, the 4-5. I don't know. Can he shoot the 2 on the side and go 1 rail between the 5-8 up to the center of the table? That would be pretty ideal. May have to take the 2 on in the corner, but now it looks he can get through there. So it should be simple here. 1 cushion. And now he's just picture perfect, besides having to make a difficult shot, but he's perfect to come 2 cushions at that 4-5.
Well, not quite the desired result. It was a phenomenal effort, and he does have some reward.
Yeah, he put more speed on that, expecting to hit the other side more into the purple than the pink, but now he's a little awkward with the 8 there. Like, where's the purple going exactly? Is this a pocketable ball? All right, use the upper part of that shelf in the corner. Maybe thinking of the worlds, I don't know. He's really starting this tournament off in pretty perfect place so far. Now Federer usually likes to run past this 3 rails. Could lay up a couple 2-3 rails for the 7, the brown 7 in that same right middle. Should take it on with the 8 pretty open, just run 3 rails to the center of the table. I think what you'll see too here from the players, they'll say the bed's probably going to play a little faster also. Saw some of those comments in the UK Open where I think the humidity really just kind of toughened the tables up in all aspects.
So efficient. This wasn't an easy rack, and yet he's solved the conundrum. It is 4-0 with 3 break-in runouts. Fedor Gorsh, the main man on the World 9-Ball Tour in terms of ranking, and indeed because he won the World 9-Ball Championship in Saudi Arabia in June, the main man is looking precisely that. He leads 4-0. So let's take a look at these other scores. All German affair on table 7. Dennis Waldecker 2-0 up on Nicholas Doer. Fitim Haradinaj and Norman Bakker 2-2. Bessel Spahju 2-0 up on Samir Al-Karemawi. Ronnie Aldervik from Norway 2-0 up on Alvin Angito. Quick start for Alexa Pachelch over Ernesto Kajoni. 3-0 there. Max Lechner 2-0 on Hendrik Franke. Do Tae Kien of Vietnam 2-1 on Walter Laker, and as I speak, Alvin Angito has got his first rack on the board. Over on table 2, Aloysius Yap is looking good against Sei Seoa, the Singaporean #1. He leads 3-0. He's hardly made a mistake. By the way, I can tell you we have a couple of results, if you like to call them that. AJ Manis, not here. Not for this match anyway. So Daria Seranchuk of Ukraine has got a walkover. Same for Mubarak. Suleiman Al-Wahabi. Walkover over the USA's Danny Olsen.
Yeah, I thought when I saw that list that Danny would make this event, but of course we talked about Tyler Starr. Unfortunately, he can't make it.
Well, another significant walkover, Jeffrey Rodder, not involved. The beneficiary of the bye, if you like. Fawad Abdullah Almadan of Saudi Arabia.
Might see a pretty one here with Fedor Gorst. Would play the bank 2 onto the 9, but the 6 is in the way, so I think he'll play the cue ball. Come a couple rails off the right side and just drift the cue ball at the 9. Won't have a ton of speed, but should get the 2 in somewhat of an odd position near the 6 off a couple cushions. I fancy his chances here. This lays pretty natural. Again, wants to use a little right English, not much. There it is.
Well called, well played. He really is living up to his reputation, which is enormous, isn't it now? I was just thinking, you know, Jeremy, 256 players ostensibly here. He's out on his own, he's unique. 255 of them are thinking about world rankings. A lot of them are thinking about Mosconi Cup and Reyes Cup. All of that burden has been lifted. He's going to be world number 1 for a very lengthy amount of time. He knows that for sure because of the prize money he earned in Saudi Arabia. And also, he knows he's going to be in the Mosconi Cup, and the Reyes Cup, well, that's not available to him because it's Europe against Asia. So he's here solely to win this title. Thoughts of rankings very much on the back burner.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he was the type that would try to leave that behind anyways, but yeah, we used to talk about it back in the day that, you know, pool, of course, it's come a long ways with sponsorship dollars for players and whatnot, but if you were upper echelon, top 5 guys, you know, you just went to the tournament with a little different outlook than a lot of the other players because they're trying to make their name, get more sponsors, get a sponsor. Whereas if you were top 5 or so, or one of those big names, you know, you kind of went into the matches and the tournaments a little more free rolling. But, you know, we've seen in individual sports certain players really kind of transcend the sport and take it somewhere. And I think we're fortunate enough in pool not only to have this guy that's about to break the balls, but another 4, 5, 6 others that are really going to take this sport to another level. Boy, this 2's going to dress up. I got kicked over. Still may dress up.
Doesn't that 6 ball know who Fedor Gorst is? Very rude. And the thing is, he's so cool, calm and collected. He's got so much experience. Sometimes we forget he's still only 24 years of age.
Yeah, he's really, you know, the complete package when it comes to on the table and certainly off the table as well. And got many years of doing it still. Looks like, I don't know, I guess he's going to take the longer cue to take this jump shot since the 3's a bit away. Now this, depending on how the hop of the cue ball comes about, he's got to watch out for the upper right corner with the cue ball, I think, especially with the 6 there. Well, we're going to see high at the table again off of another foul. Got a little information, got a message about man at the table, and he's lived, actually represents Vietnam, but has lived here in Germany for quite some time. And has been a player here, so probably won a qualifying event, I would guess, or got in the event some type of way through qualification.
It's hard to articulate just how popular Fedor Gorst is in the entire world of pool, but particularly in Vietnam. So in many respects, this is the most nerve-wracking draw Hai Long Lei could possibly have had. He's not just playing a top player, he's playing someone who is hugely known in his home country, and he's also playing him out there in front of the TV cameras. It is the biggest ordeal I think you could have possibly given him.
I agree, Phil, especially first round match. And a nice clearance besides that 9-ball there in rack number 4. So little straight 6 is pretty handy, but he's got to work back for the 7, so we'll see. Looks like rail first. This isn't going to be his best. You can see a little look to the pool gods there. And just like the 9-ball, he missed a little let up on the stroke.
Well, that was a classy effort.
Yeah, very good. With the compact style, watch out for the little bit of a thick hit here. Easy to do on the rail. And I think you would agree. I think out of all the places, of course, we've gone to, the local players in Germany, I think, has impressed us the most.
Definitely, it's a tough school here. The Bundesliga they play and the national tournaments have to be hard fought to win them. Now let's hope he doesn't do what he did in the 3rd rack, which is miss the 9-ball. He does need the bridge. Very well done indeed. I think he's too good a player to say he's happy to win a rack. He wants to do more than that, and I think if he does go to the one-loss side, he might win matches over there from what I've seen so far. But it's always nice to get that first rack on the board. The last thing you want to do is to come into an event like this and be whitewashed. And of course, when you're 5-0 down to Fedor Gorst, there's always that possibility. So at least that's been removed now.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see him break the balls here in game number 7, see what he's got going on at that end of the table. Haven't seen much tactically yet. It's been Gorst on breaking runs or Lei with a clearance and missing the 9, and then a nice clearance there in game number 6.
Robbie Capito was so impressive in winning the UK Open. He's 4-0 up on table 2 against Patrick Lee Cowell. Masato Yoshioka 5-1 on Samir Alwan. And Ralph Suke over on table 14, the great German warrior, the veteran. One of the most successful players Germany's ever produced. He's 2-0 up on Matthew Wrigley. Michael Schneider of Switzerland, 2-1 down early against Dan Afriat. And my second pick, Victor Zielinski. He leads Mohsen Sadawi 5-1.
Pretty good. A little on the light side overall, but got the one down. Has a tough shot on the 2. A very difficult layout here, but gets a chance to get started. You know, we always talk about it. Always comes up, especially like if Efren's around, who's the greatest ever. And I think that argument, at least for the modern era, has come down to 2 players between Efren and SVB. But I mean, if you think about just players down the line a little bit, I mean, you got to throw Ralph Souquet in that mix. I mean, he doesn't have maybe the one pocket and some bank pool wins or whatever. There's different disciplines, but he's not just a 9-ball player. He's had great straight pool career. He's had a great 8-ball career, and really has won every tournament on the planet.
Yes, and he conducts himself with utter professionalism. Yeah, got a soft spot for the Kaiser, there's no doubt about that.
Really nice opener there on the 2. A little unfortunate to fall flat on the red 3, and not so much just to get on the 4, but get on the 4 properly to get to a very difficult 5-ball up on the top rail, a purple 5. Could hold for a bank on the 4. I think it does play by the 7-9, but that was all about trying to get the cue ball out to the center.
By the way, just a reminder, over on table 1, this is the TV table. Table 1 and table 2 are also in close proximity. Over on table 1, Aloysius Yap 3-0 up on Seo Seoa of South Korea. The 4th rack has been very lengthy, very tactical to start off. I think the impasse has been broken because Yap's just potted the 1 and dropped nicely on the 2 with an open table now. But the start of that 4th rack, extremely drawn out.
I think there's 2 ladies in the event. Is that right? Pia and Sal, I think. I think those are the only 2 ladies that kind of went through the draw last night looking. But
needs to run. Yes, the junior event, which is going to be taking place here later in the week, which always accompanies these big ranking events these days. The junior event is the Fillers Junior Open, which is co-hosted by Joshua and Pia.
okay, this got just enough. I don't know if I don't think he has to go up and down. No, he can kill it. Now, I definitely see a little more speed on the bed here in Fulda than I saw at the UK Open. Nothing crazy, but it is going to help the players here and there. Yeah, the speed's going to be a hair off. He wasn't in love with that delivery. You could see a little shake of the head, and it wasn't so much the outcome here. Most players don't care about the outcome as much as they just don't like the feeling of an off stroke. Wow, he's not even shooting at this. This is very playable. Now, if he comes 2 cushions, top cushion, right side cushion at the 7, the brown 7. It's the type of shot you don't want to hit with a lot of speed for a few reasons. You don't want to lose accuracy first off, and there's lots of ways to not make the 7 and keep Federer off an offensive shot. Is he going 1 cushion here? Got to go 2. He's looking for the 2 cushion escape, and again, I'd say on the lighter side of medium. That's what I like. It may not produce the best shot on the 8, but I think percentage-wise, that's the way to go.
It was a good effort, but not good enough, and it should have cost him the rack. Yap, by the way, did take that chance. The match on table 1 is available over on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel. And if this one is over quickly, which looks as though it might well be, I think we might get a taste of Yap against Sioa on our main coverage. 6-1 to Gorst. Hai Long Lee has just made a couple of errors. And you can't do that against someone of Gorst's incredible class. Alvin Anggito from Indonesia, 4-1 down now to Ronnie Aldervik. Vesel Spahiu, 5-0 up on Samir Al-Karim Awi. Dennis Valdecker, 4-1 on Nicholas Doer. Alexa Pachelch, 4-1 on Ernesto Gajoni. Max Lechner, never write him off, 4-0 up on Hendrik Franke. Do Tae Kien, 4-1 on Walter Laker, the youngster from Sweden. Yuma Dormer from here in Germany. He leads Sasha Andre Tegger, 3-1. Dimitris Lukatos, 3-1 up on Yuri Pisklov. Dennis Grabber from Estonia leads Simon Kunzel, 4-2. Yannick Pongers, good player from Holland. He's 4-1 up on Radislav Babica. Robbie Capito, 5-0 on Patrick Lee Cao. Masato Yoshioka, Naoki Oi's World Cup partner. He leads Samir Alwan, 6-1. It's still 2-0 for the Kaiser Ralph Suke over Matthew Wrigley. We can only assume the third rack there has turned into a real good old-fashioned grind. I was saying that Michael Schneider was behind early against Dan Afriat. Well, now Schneider leads 3-2. And Victor Zielinski on the hill, 8-1 over Mohsin Sadawi. The youngster from Iowa, Sam Henderson, hasn't made a good start. He's 3-1 down to Joe Prince.
Yeah, nice break off there. Cue ball got a little kiss on the pink. Don't think he really has much on the 2. I don't know if he's sizing up a push out here. He has a couple kick options. Could kick to come behind and hit the 2 and kind of run the cue ball over by the 9, using the 3 to hold the blue 2. May have a sliver of the blue 2 to look at straight off the break here. All right, he's pushing out as he's shooting through on the 6 to push the cue ball between the 7-8.
It's a eureka moment on table 14. Ralph Suke did win the third rack. When it went like that, we thought, yeah, he's extraordinary tactical acumen might well carry the day, and it did. He leads Matthew Wrigley 3-0.
Yeah, this is a difficult one. You know, normally I don't think you'd pass this very often. It's a little odd coming behind the 4-5-9 with the cue ball. And not only that, you got the Feder-Gorst effect with the jump cue. If you're Lee. Is he hitting downward on this? Wow, he's hitting a draw stroke, or is he dragging this with some spin? Yeah, he's dragging it. I got a friendly bump there.
Yes, no contact on the 9, and the 2 would have been left.
Yeah, difficult rack here with the 6-7, the 4-5, and all that. I would have hated to burn my extension right here on this blue 2 myself anyways. especially knowing you're going to the air. He kind of took his time doing all that. Maybe, you know, in time you'll learn you want to save that extension.
Yes, on that topic, I thought during the World Championship, there were numerous occasions where extensions were taken in panic mode very early on in big matches, and because they took them so early in racks, it came back to haunt them.
Yeah, absolutely, Phil. I think it's every tournament, let alone the World Championships, $1 million purse, of course, the title, and everything that comes along with it. But I think every tournament we pick out players, once they get down in the tournament a little bit, they start to stress about every ball. And if that's the case, you're going to burn your extension quickly. And, you know, there's always, you know, the motto of, hey, no shot is more important than the one in front of you. But you have to learn how to kind of be that coach and manager and maybe not burn that extension too quickly.
Yes, just to put you in the picture if you don't otherwise know, it's a 30-second shot clock with one 30-second extension per player per rack. And of course, the shot clock is only in operation on the main table for the first 4 days here. Now, you might be wondering, well, there's no dedicated referee for this match, and there isn't. But there is a timekeeper, of course. And I was talking to Marcel Eckhart, the senior referee, this morning, and he was explaining that if there's a rules dispute or a query, then the roving referee will be called in, and during that process, the shot clock will be stopped. Doesn't happen too often, once in a blue moon, but there you can see Julian Roper is doing the work on the shot clock.
Yeah, going to the air. He had one foul already. Very awkward cueing with the 6-7 bridge in between the 6-7. Probably just tries to hit this in the face and bang it around. No, what a shot. And that's the only reason why I said maybe a safety instead of making it position. Well, I mean, here, you know, we play all ball fouls, all that. And, you know, sometimes you're not going to call a referee for a touch foul of some sort, something you can't anticipate or think's going to happen. And really, over a few years of this, really no real issues with the players as a whole. All right, just tries to coast the cue ball over, trying to leave something long, trying to get the pink past the side.
You know, the way he jumps, what about this for entrance music? Jump by the Pointer Sisters. It'd be perfect.
Oh, Van Halen's jump ain't bad either, so depends on what your flavor is. But yeah, the Pointer Sisters, that was a pretty popular song, I'll tell you. What was that, mid-'80s or early 80s, something like that? All right, looks like he's going after this.
Well, it's Hai Long Lei's turn to have a little bit of good fortune. We cannot begrudge him.
No, probably 3 rails behind here. I kind of like maybe the kick up the table, 2 cushions, but this is all right as well. Just kind of feel like you may send the pink towards that 6, 7, 8.
No contact made at all, surprisingly.
Yeah, there was a little contact at the end that made a difference, though, bumping the green 6 open. He's got to pay attention here. I would like to get above the 5 myself here. I may shoot this in the opposite side or draw back above the 5. You want to get the cue ball back. Well, now he's going to have to draw into position, which is okay, but there's a gap. Yeah, this has gotten a little thin. Can he kill the cue ball nicely going by the 8-1 rail? Looks like it. Nice. Tip's coming up a little bit, so maybe trying to come 2 cushions. And that's going to be way light. The way he's looking, maybe he was trying to bump the 8 a bit there, Phil.
I think so, because otherwise the misjudgment would have been ridiculously off. Yeah, I think he was bumping the 8, wasn't he, or at least attempting to. Terrific recovery.
Yeah, beautiful. Really kept control of the stroke. Easy to kind of overhit that, overcut it. Got to pay attention to all these, though, and that's the difference with this pockets we have now on the World Nineball Tour.
Well, high, a long lay, missed the 9-ball in the 3rd rack, but he didn't miss the 9-ball there. That was a good run out. And so, 6-2. If he can win the next couple of racks, all of a sudden we're starting to think it's more than respectable. It could be a little threatening. Now, we've told you about some walkovers, but in terms of actual matches played, we have the first result. Victor Zielinski raced to a 9-1 win over Mohsin Sadoli of Germany. That was over on table 5. If you're up early in the United States watching this, you'll want to know how Vijay Usuri is doing against Dean Shields. Well, he's doing well so far. The Mosconi Cup candidate. He's 5-1 up. Sam Henderson from Iowa, 4-1 down to Joe Prince. Daniel Masol, a fine player from Poland. He leads Andrei Ionescu from Romania, 5-1. And Neukioi, fresh off that win in Finland, he's 5-3 up on Khalid Al-Atabi. And joining us in the commentary position now is Pool Royalty. The king, well, the self-appointed king, Carl Boyes, who's just given Jeremy Jones some money. Let's get the not the ornithologists, the naturalists in to see if we can see any.
It's good to be the king, Phil.
Yeah, see if we can see any old rare moths out of Carl's wallet. He's not even commentating yet, we're giving him stick. Don't know where I got all ornithologists from, that's birds.
It's looking fresh though, Carl. Look good. Ready to go?
Yeah, he's leaving because he's not got a microphone, so he can't give us stick in return.
Well, that's what his shirt says, kick and stick. Like I said, maybe a little on the light side, but very effective. Making 2 balls on the break. I don't know if a 3-6 combination is playable. It's close. Doesn't appear he's taking much time, but I'm thinking about it a bit more.
Tell you what though, now Carl's not here, we can actually praise him up. I thought his call in the deciding rack of the World 9-ball final when he basically predicted the scratch from Declan Kachi. That was a very timely and accurate call, wasn't it? So congratulations to Cole for calling that one out. It wasn't congratulations to Kachi, though. It was a heartbreaking way to lose.
Yeah, Carl recognized that, you know, a lot of times your worry is what's in front of you and not thinking about the cue ball. Kachi was worried about catching the 9 on the way by, went a little above it and lost the cue ball. And still super impressed with both those players. I was a little shocked that last game that there were a couple openings I thought each player would take on just because of how great they were playing, but elected to play some safeties in that final game, and you kind of understand it.
Yeah, I think it was the gargantuan prize money and the ranking points on offer that dictated their conservative, cautious approach. It had to be.
Yeah, and I think, you know, to be fair, the prestige of the World Nineball Championship was put back in place there in Jeddah this year compared to where it had been the last, you know, honestly, the last 8 or 10 years. It just didn't feel like the event it should have felt like, not only to the players probably, but me as a spectator when I watched there in Qatar. I just never got the feeling like I wanted to for a World Nineball title. All right, no hit here, so he's going to try and tie more balls up, which doesn't always help you. Now he can shave the 3, I think, and run the cue ball up the table, leaving the same kind of situation for his opponent.
Yes, and while he's working out his options, when you talk of prestige, that is the byword for the event that's coming up the week after next in Atlantic City, the US Open. Can't wait for that one.
Yeah, that's still my favorite event, even though I'll tell you, this week or a couple of months ago there in Jeddah was something incredible. But of course, being from America and where the game really came about, and I'll tell you, since it's moved to Atlantic City, it's been pretty impressive. The fans have been incredible. It seems like the tournament's grown even bigger. And moving it up a month or so this year, so I think the weather will be even better. Yeah, really nice hit there from Lay. 6, and that grouping on the bottom rail, the hit on the red 3 was just as important as anything, no matter the outcome.
A couple of players on the hill. Masato Yoshioka, 8-2 on Samir Alwan. Robbie Capito, 8-0 on Patrick Lee Cowell. Pays not to mess tactically with Fedor Gorst. You've only got to look at what he does in one pocket tournaments. This year alone, he's won the one pocket of the Bayou State Classic, the Derby City Classic, and the Mini Derb as well. And in previous years, he's had wonderful success in that form of the game. Not done too badly in 9-ball this year. Started out with a win in the Turning Stone Classic in New York State. Whirlpool Masters here in Germany, beating Joshua Filler in a thrilling final. The rally in Shenandoah Valley, 9-ball Open one, and of course the biggest of the lot, the World 9-ball Championship. But I think I'm right in saying if you're a one-pocket expert, you have got a very good, a very sharp, defensive, tactical mind.
Yeah, and just playing more of that game makes that mind even better. You just get a great gut instinct on how the balls react a little bit more. You know, when you're shooting a ball, you know, like this pink 4, you could take your neighbor and he can kind of tell where the cue ball is going a little bit, just instinct without even playing. But when you're hitting foreign pieces of the ball, that's kind of like where Efren always shines so much. You know, many of them were just as good pocketing the ball, but when you're hitting off a little piece of it, the story changes a bit. Probably just going to roll forward here, maybe bump the 7 a hair and glue to the 6.
I think that's what you call locked up.
Yeah, and Federer's probably a little upset. He thought the cue ball would probably come up a little more and cut off this left side rail, but is he looking at 2 rails? Does he have to go 2 cushions here? Oh, wow. Big underdog to hit this, coming 2 cushions, especially jacked up.
Masato Yoshioka has won against Samir Alwan 9-2.
Masato's been around a minute, right? Don't you think he's playing the best pool of his career, though? I think match in, match out. I mean, doesn't always win them against these greats, but it seems like he's always in it.
Yeah, I think playing under the pressure of the World Cup really helped him.
Yeah. I'm surprised he played that with outside English. I thought he would play with inside to spin the 6 a little more towards the pocket.
I must say, when it went 5-0, the way it went 5-0 with 3 break-in run-outs and 1 piece of inspiration from Gorst, the missed 9 ball from Lay in the 3rd rack. When he went 5-0, I thought this was going to be quite a simple assignment. It's turning out to be not hard work, but he's having to put his back into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Needs a little left spin here. He'll whiff this kick. Yeah. How often we see that kick missed by the players. That second rail just doesn't open up like the players imagine, like their club table possibly. Now Gorst has many ways to play this ball in hand. Probably uses a side cushion. Could follow or stun. Hard to tell sometimes with his cueing. Yeah, that's the shot I thought he'd play, the stun.
(7-2) to the world champion. It's actually turning out to be quite a useful run out, this. He's not under a great amount of pressure, but he's being forced to employ all aspects of the game in the contest.
Yeah, absolutely. And talked about it at the beginning. He really just doesn't take matches off, understanding a big favorite here, but a man that's capable as an opponent. But Federer's getting ready for the tournament right here in the first match. And like Phil said, got to see many parts of the game here early.
Robbie Capito is a winner by whitewash, 9-0 over Patrick Lee Cow. The perfect start over on table 2. By the way, on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel right now, you can see Aloysius Yap against Seo. Yap is leading 5-1. So just a little more than halfway towards victory. (4-1) for Ralph Suke over Matthew Wrigley. 6-3 now for Yannick Pongers against the veteran from Poland, Radoslav Babica. Same score in favour of Denis Graber over Simon Kunzel, 6-3. Dimitris Lukatos, 5-1 over Yuri Pliskov. Yuma Dorna, 5-1 over Sasha Andrei Tega. And it's looking good for a couple of fine players from Europe. Alexa Pashelch, 7-3 over Ernesto Hajoni. And Max Lechner, 7-0 over Hendrik Franke from right here in Germany. It was a slow start for Nicholas Doer, who's done some good stuff, actually, on the World Nineball Tour in the past. A slow start for him against Dennis Valdecker. Now, though, Valdecker's lead has been reduced to 5-4. Fitim Haradinaj, 6-3 up on Norman Bakker. Alvin Angito, 6-4 down to Ronnie Aldervik. I can tell you, Pashelch has just moved to the hill against Johnny at 8-3. Do Tae Kien from Vietnam, 6-2 up on the Swede Walter Lakra. And Talal Al-Blushi, 5-4 on Dominic Diesenrieder from right here in Germany. Vijay Uthri, 2 racks away from victory against Dean Shields at 7-2. Sam Henderson fighting back against Joe Prince. Prince's lead reduced to 4-3. Daniel Massiol on the hill against Andrei Ionescu, 8-1. And Naoki Oi, 6-4 on Khalid Al-Matabi. I was talking about that win in Finland for Oi. Well, the highlight performance, he beat Francisco Sanchez-Ruiz in the final 11-8, but he beat Riku Rompainen, the 17-year-old Finn, 10-2 in the semi-finals, and David Alcady, 10-8 in the quarters. He was obviously playing very good pool at the weekend.
All right, pretty good break off. I think he does have a real first on the blue too. Don't think you'll see him push regardless, even if he has to jump the ball a bit, but I think he's all right.
On table 21, Daniel Massiol has come through with no sweat, beating Andrei Ionescu 9-1.
Yeah, Federer kind of sizing up, getting on the 6 ball right now. He's got to get on the purple 5 off the red 3 here. Is he trying to stun all the way across? Wow. So that was all about being able to get on the green 6 a little better, whether it be the combination on the 6-7 or the 6 to the upper right. All right, all speed control here. Can't come so tight to guarantee the shot. Yeah, that's going to be a little heavy, I think. And all that is he had to get into the ball to create that angle a bit, and that's when speed control becomes a little difficult.
And as always, Jeremy, you're right about this table. It is on the quick side.
Yeah, the weather's just perfect. I mean, this morning was just beautiful to get up to, and looked at it for all week. I don't think there's any rain in the forecast, so amazing. I know we play indoors, but it does have a direct effect on the conditions of the tables. A little heavy with it there. Great hit there. A little applause from his opponent. A little tap of the table. Now does Federer roll off the right side of the 6 here? He's not taking a whole lot of time. It's kind of more natural to come off the right. You got to get into the ball a little more off the left. Just maybe cozy behind the 8, the black 8.
On table 1, Aloysius Yap has just deposited a very simple 9-ball. He leads Theo Theo 6-1 now. The hit, yes, but the scratch, oh no.
Yeah, didn't dig on the cue ball quite as much as he wanted. Trying to hold the cue ball behind the brown 7 as a 6-1 up table. Maybe leaking it in that side pocket, but the leak was with the cue ball. This is going to get Federer Gorge to the hill. Could use 2 cushions or 1. I kind of like the 1 myself. Just comes down the straight down the right side.
This lovely town is surrounded by rolling hillsides, and now, in a pool sense, as Jeremy said, Gorge is on the hill, 8-2. Very historic place, you know. In 744 AD, in the 8th century, Saint Sturm, who was a disciple of Saint Boniface, founded a Benedictine monastery here. So you can go back many, many centuries.
Is that how the town kind of developed?
I think so, yeah. There's a big American connection here as well, actually, because for a number of years, the Downs Barracks was HQ for the 11th Armoured Cavalry Regiment and also the 14th Armoured Cavalry Regiment. And it's twinned with a number of cities, these Fulda, Como in Italy, and Dockham in the Netherlands, but also Wilmington, Delaware.
Wow.
There's been plenty of pool history here as well over the last couple of years. The 2 European Open winners in this venue, Albin Auschen and David Alcady, and both of them went on to represent Europe in that year's Mosconi Cup, of course. And if a European were to win this, they'd be very much in contention as well for Mosconi Cup call-ups.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course you have the Mosconi Cup and the Reyes Cup also, so 2 huge events. One of them the inaugural, the other one labeled as probably the biggest event in pool, the Mosconi Cup.
So can Gorge finish off?
Well, it looks like we're going to see his opponent at least one more time. I think he's partially snookered on the blue 2. Been very solid with the 1 on the side, so he's got to be happy for that moving forward. Difficult push out, though. just at first glance, besides playing the blue 2 off the red 3 to get something started, trailing 8-2 in this match, I think I passed this one back. I really just don't see a whole lot. Like I said, besides that kiss shot, the 2 off the 3, that with a high ball, it sits pretty nice, even though he's, you know, got some distance between. Well, Federer made that look easy. Cutting the ball a little bit from distance, commanding the speed to hold behind the red 3. Love to kick at this versus the jump. Jump's pretty makeable, though. It's decent. Cue ball's going to be going away from the red 3, though. So we'll see. Pretty unlucky there. Great strike on the cue ball and the blue 2. Cue ball got lost one rail directly in that left middle.
We'll put in this disclaimer before my next statement. He has been comprehensively outplayed, high, long lay, but I think it's also worth noting he's not had the best of fortune.
No, and you kind of wonder, you know, probably not a different outcome, but somewhat of a different outcome if he gets that 9 down in rack number 4 after a nice clearance and played pretty steady afterwards. Just like Phil said, not a lot of opportunity and then not a lot of luck. And you would say maybe a little was needed. Okay, Gorse, is he pushing through on the 9 here? Nice shot.
We spoke to Fedor, didn't we, Jeremy, briefly before he went down into the arena to play his match, and it was quite obvious he was focused, up for it. He's one of those players who's all business, and that's why he's been so successful. He's not one for distractions. When he's here for glory.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, if anyone could take a match off, especially the first one, and not take a match off like, you know, lose the match or whatever, but, you know, just take a shot off here and there, and that's just not his style. He just works hard. He's wants to get a feel of the table. He wants to get used to winning the tournament right now in match number 1.
Well, that was, certainly in terms of the scoreline, quite an easy run out for Fedor Gorsh, the world 9-ball champion, and the runaway number 1 in the world 9-ball tour rankings. He defeats Hai Long Lei by 9 racks to 2. Now we're going to take a 5-minute break, after which we'll come back to see a snippet of the Aloysius Yap Sioa match on table 1, and then our second match here on the main arena. It is Kopin Yi against Farkas Amazi Sharverdi. Michael McMullen and Carl Boys will be commentating for you on that one. Bye-bye for now.